as a sex therapist, what I anticipate is that people are going to feel more authentic sexually with their tech because they're not worried about rejection,
Right.
and they'll explore more. So now they'll have this interaction with a voice that sounds human, with a sex toy that feels really intense, and they're able to say or act out anything possible. And then they go to their human partner who's like, "Are you kidding me? I'm not saying that. And what's wrong with you for even thinking
Right.
that?" Right? We've got a problem on our hands here that's brewing, in my opinion.
I know you're all over the internet. I certainly noticed that. So I think your name will be familiar to folks, but maybe a little background for maybe folks that don't know you.
Sure. So my name's Dr. Marianne Brandon. I'm a clinical psychologist and a diplomat in sex therapy. I've been in practice for almost 30 years now. And up until probably a decade ago, my focus was exclusively sex therapy. But with this past decade, it's become increasingly clear to me that things are changing with regards to technology, not only in our general lives, but in our intimate lives. And so that's sort of captivated me, if I want to use such a positive term, and been my focus for like the last decade or so. I have a podcast with my husband. It's called The Sex Doctors. He's a urologist, and actually he's an original testosterone researcher, and I don't say that lightly. So he's sort of known as the father of testosterone in the world.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so he and I have a podcast, and I have a blog that's very dear to my heart with Psychology Today. It's called The Future of Intimacy, which I write because of these concerns that we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. And that's how I found you. And I they do a great job of kind of distilling, a lot of the stuff at a higher level for just kind of the layman to just catch on and understand. So they do a really good job there.
Yeah. Well, great.
Yeah. So, even if you just take out the technology part of it, so maybe the first 20 years of your career, I mean, I'm very tech focused, and obviously this is, I think, super impactful. I think its impact on society is, it's at least in the relational way. I mean, obviously there's a ton of good with the tech, but I mean, it sounds like you're not all that optimistic, or I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're seeing the challenges that tech's bringing in. I mean, what are the trends you're seeing? Like, I mean, you've been doing this for, you said 30 years total?
So, right. So you're asking like within my practice. Well, absolutely.
Yep.
What I'm seeing and what we're seeing, I would say worldwide, certainly within this country, in the US, but worldwide, people are having less sex. They're struggling more with dating. They're struggling in their relationships in terms of their expectations are so high of each other that it's kind of become impossible for people to be a quote good partner. So folks, and these changes have been occurring over the last couple of decades we can expect a variety of reasons, but also people they're definitely more stressed. They're more depressed, but people are just on edge. And that's very real. And so that in and of itself is a big deal, because when people are really on edge, they don't have the energy to relate to another human being. Like they're holding on, just getting by. So to actually have a intimate relationship or give in a sexual situation is that much more challenging for people. So there's a lot of different shifts that are happening. They're evident to me, and like I said, they're evident worldwide. I'm sure a lot of your listeners relate to what I'm saying right now.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's, and I talk about it a lot on the show just because I think, I don't want to say it's an existential crisis, but I just feel like we're going in the wrong direction. And you have I do want to read a little bit from your blog, because I think you summed it up perfectly. And it really is unfair as a partner, but you say, let's be honest about what we're asking from a romantic partner in modern relationships. We want them to be everything: passionate lovers, intimate friends, reliable attachment figures, social companions, co-parents, financial partners, and perhaps even more. We want them to look good, listen attentively, respond to our needs, reassure us, never reject us, stay sexually interested, and somehow maintain mystery and novelty after seeing us at our worst for years. Not really not really, none of us are going to meet that standard.
Correct. It's impossible. And I would argue that one of the primary sort of components of this is that people are watching these quote unquote perfect relationships, perfect photos, in social media. And so we went from two decades ago, like comparing ourselves and our relationships just to those of our friends, our family, some community members. Now we're comparing them to the world, and we're not even seeing realistic depictions.
The highlight reel.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
Yeah. My wife and I always talk about that, where even if you could take social media out of it, generally in society, you observe others. They put on a front. We all put on a little bit of a front.
Right.
Things are not as good as they seem. They never are. Everyone's got their own challenges. So even back then, I think before tech, you would observe someone and compare their polished version to your reality. Because when you go to bed at night and shut the door, reality strikes. Kids have problems. There's cancers. The house is a mess. Nothing's polished. I mean, we're all struggling, and we're all trying to. And then you had social media, and we're at just doom scrolling, seeing a beautiful, polished view of everything and everywhere. Everyone's got tons of money, and they're traveling all the time. Their relationships are so
right,
and it's not real. And we compare we compare that to our reality, and we always feel like we're in some kind of deficit, and it's horrible for our mental health.
Exactly. And I would not be surprised if things got worse for people, because now our young people are exposed to all this at a very young age. And our brains are neuroplastic, but particularly neuroplastic at younger ages. So while you and I might have been exposed to this kind of technology after, our neurophysiology was primarily formed, which means we sort of bring it in based on what we understand of the world already. Our younger people are forming their neurophysiology, their expectations on this. So what that means is they're going to have less of an ability to discern what you and I are talking about, because it's like baked in to their neurophysiology. It's not a small point. It's a real issue. And we're really seeing now the first generations of young people who were reared from like day one with this kind of tech.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really good point. I mean, I don't think any of the data shows that smartphones are good for children.
Right.
I mean, Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation, I think, at least for me, I've always been kind of interested in this stuff, but I think for a lot of my friends that maybe don't track it as much, when that book came out, some of them actually took phones away from their kids.
Yeah.
Just, under a certain age. Because you're right. They're literally learning reality. Their brain is doing its magic and adapting to what it sees based on the input of the world. And if that's the input you're giving it, it's kind of like this garbage in, garbage out,
Exactly.
And it is hard though. I mean, because especially like in schools, you kind of need the technology, but so it's like one tab away. I always say, like, to my kids, I'll see, they're 11 and 13 now.
Aww.
And I'm like, they're amazing, but they're a pain in the ass, but they're amazing.
Right.
No, I love them. It is crazy. I mean, I never didn't think I would ever want kids. And then I did. I was like, oh, I get it. I guess why this is so magic, but it's hard as hell. It's hard as hell. But, going back, I always say, technology is an amazing thing. You look at your web browser, you can have one tab be open with you. You could be learning about, Egyptian history and art and just, engineering stuff. I'm an engineer by trade. I love it. And one tab over, you can have porn or Facebook or the doom scrolling. It's like it's so close, right? There's no space there.
Absolutely.
So it's not like just stay out of, don't go hang out with those friends or stay out of those bad circles. It's just such an active process. Yeah. Yeah. So we're starting off on we're I think I put in my notes to you, are we what I say, are we screwed? No pun intended.
I hate to go that far, but I do feel like that, I'm delighted that you are concerned about this, that you asked me on the podcast, because I can't believe that we don't have a chance. But to have a chance, we all have to get involved in this dialogue. This is not something that we can ignore. And I think people are already so exhausted, like we talked about. They don't really have the energy to take this on. This is just another big problem, but we have to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't, I think you're 100% right. And I think it has to start, for me, at least my opinion, has to start in the home, has to start with our families.
Right. Exactly.
The technology companies, they're going to follow their incentives.
Right.
Which are, in the case of social media, it's going to be keep you on their platforms, keep you addicted.
Right.
And then AI, the AI, all these AI bots doing the same thing. They want to keep you engaged. Once they start adding, I think, introducing ads to their revenue, which they're all going to start doing. Yeah. Their only incentive is going to keep you talking to it.
Exactly.
And then,
so really is, I love what you're saying. Start in the home. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a small, I just, for me, that's always been kind of an, I've never been a guy that the government can save you. I never believe that's true. And I just literally look around and the incentives are not there. And I quote Charlie Munger all the time. Listeners are probably sick of me saying it, but he said, follow the incentives and I'll show you the outcome.
Yeah. So, well, that's so true.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and it's capitalism. They're going to do their thing, and it's just not upon us to just realize, hey, this is not going down the right path. But yeah, so you mentioned the trends. Less kids. I think we're getting married less. We're having sex less.
Correct.
We're in this fake connected world where we're more connected than ever, making air quotes. But
right,
I think. I mean, I've heard and read folks say we have this loneliness epidemic. Would you? Are you in that camp?
Yes, I'm definitely in that camp. I think as we are connecting less with humans, we're connecting more with tech. That's just fact. And tech can, in the moment, make people feel better, make people feel soothed and connected. But over time, if we don't measure the amount of human connection we're getting with the amount of tech, loneliness ensues. I mean, that's just sort of what research is showing us. So the people who are protected and the kids who are protected and the adults who are protected are the people that still fight for their human time, even if they don't have the energy for it. I mean, how many times have we sort of scheduled something with a friend we love, and then, the evening for dinner comes and you're like, oh my God, I don't have the energy. You have to fight through that, because that's really such a lifeline for all of us. It's those of us who give in to the ease of tech all the time that really will become more lonely, and other changes will occur too, most likely.
Yeah, that damn dopamine. It's
right.
It's wonderful. It's so, it's one click away.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and you said this a couple times, and I think it's an important point. We just don't have the energy. We're so damn exhausted. We're focused on, the pressure to keep both parents in the workplace, make more money, buy more stuff, keep up with the Joneses.
Right.
That doesn't end well, because you're right. You don't have the time for let's just hang out on the couch and talk as a family. Let's go, bond with friends. Let's keep those relationships strong. I'm too busy. I got barely have time to do this. Or spend the time looking at what your kids are watching, and really, it all takes energy, and we just don't have any of it. It
all takes energy. And you know what else? We're so revved up at this point that sitting on the couch doesn't even feel good anymore. It's not like.
Yep. I've told them this is so like relevant to me, just with my kids' ages. I said, I say them all the time. They're just bored at everything.
Yeah.
Everything is boring, because the baseline for that kind of, I don't know exactly if it's a dopamine, but some level of what the brain says, giving you the reward signal. When I was a kid, we had like a little TV in the, this is not back in my day, but going outside, and that was exciting, because being in the house was boring. There was nothing in there. Now everything's just in. If you punish a kid saying go to your room, odds are there's an Xbox up there, a computer, 17 phones. It's like, thank you, I'll go up there all day.
Right.
So you're sitting on the couch and even reading a book, trying to get my kids to read more. It's like, it's just not stimulating. There's not, the brain is like boring. Like their attention span is 0. So it's
true.
It's hard. Now, do you have kids in your practice? Do you see, or mostly just adults?
But really, they are who I'm most concerned about. So I do my best to. We should do this. Talk about sex education in the modern day. Not today. I don't think that's really part of our plan, but maybe another time, because parents need to understand the technology that their kids are accessing and how that's transforming, like we talked about, their neurophysiology. So my biggest concern is kids and adolescents, but I work with adults.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm sure, I would imagine you were having conversations with parents, or at the adult level, about their kids. I'm sure it's
correct.
It's yeah. 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 Now, one of the things that obviously interests me about some of your work is, people offloading their emotional sort of interactions. Instead of using people or even therapists, now they're using chatbots.
Yes.
Are you seeing that more and
Yes.
more and more?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's become already so common that people don't necessarily know to tell you about it. You sort of have to ask about it because they already just assume that this is what's going on. And also some people feel ashamed about the conversations they're having, so they're not really thrilled to tell me about what's going on. But yes, I'm seeing that. Absolutely. It's kind of insidious. Like people will start with an LLM, or there are many, many platforms, as you know, but there are the big few that we hear about all the time. Anyway, people will start with one just for general information. But because, as you alluded to, these algorithms' goal is to keep you engaged, they're going to try to like diversify the conversation that you're having with them. So it's going to happen even if you don't kind of know it's happening. So suddenly you're going to it for all kinds of stuff, not just the original, because that's what they're designed to do.
Right. And I
We're
always try to
easy to manipulate. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Oh yeah. Especially when they know all of our data, all of our habits, they know everything we're thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was just looking at an article about how on the iPhone, the camera detection literally knows where your eye is within that 5-inch screen.
Yeah.
So they know exactly what piece of the ad got your pupil to focus on. So not only just that they know that you're watching, or how long you've been on a certain page, or a short before you, but exactly what portion of that screen within like a half an inch. So it's just the ultimate hacking. It's quite scary.
They are more likely to know your sexual proclivities than you might be, because some of the stuff that might turn people on is more kind of unconscious than conscious, but they can figure that out based on your pupil dilation and stuff. Right. Like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And it's the balance between that's the power of it as well. When I'm just a few days ago, I was just it was a finance question, some financial planning stuff. And I just put ChatGPT in discussion mode and had a conversation with it. And it was freaking amazing.
I know. It's
Have you thought about this? Had you thought about that? Why don't you try this? Roth conversion. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that angle. And I'm like, that was $20 a month. Man, you're worth it. So
that's right. I talked to it today about, I think my cat's depressed, and it was like, it was so helpful. And it was like, oh, that sounds really hard. And it was so empathic, but actually it was quite helpful. And I was like, wow, that was really worth the time. So
we'll get back to your cat being depressed, but I have 2 cats. I'm a cat guy. I love cats, but don't tell my guy friends. They don't, but,
we'll keep it secret here.
Yeah. No one's going to listen to this. Oh my gosh, cat's depressed. But you're right. Yeah, it is. And that's the other thing. And I kind of will transition to, we talked about people having less sex, and obviously this is a big part of where, where you study and give advice. But so if you look at, okay, people are offloading their emotional interface to AI.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're taking the physical as well with these sex robots, and I mean, and it's funny, by the way. I did a quick Google, and like I said, I was joking about having to clear my browser history, but the company Real Doll, a video came up, and you popped up you popped up in the so I don't know if you
we just interviewed the president. Yeah.
Oh, did you really?
On the podcast? Yes.
Oh, funny, interesting. Okay, I didn't make that connection, but it was just completely, I wasn't even searching for your name specifically, and you just popped up. I'm like, oh, interesting.
So I've been following Real Doll for a while, because they have been sort of slowly creating these sex dolls. And it's actually what got my awareness about a decade ago, because they were manufacturing these in whatever version at that time. So anyway, but it's so much more, Vinny, than just sex dolls. I mean, they're becoming more and more complex right now. They're not that appealing, I think, for most people, but sex toys today can be purchased through platforms that are correlated, or that's not the right word, but they work with, for example, like porn and the speed of what's going on in the porn, and they're created so intensely that people can feel like they're experiencing what's going on in the porn with their sex toy. So we can talk about that more if you want, but it is super potent. There are other platforms where you can literally control a human's sex toy while watching them. So I don't know how far you want to go into all of this, but there's so much more than sex robots that are out there right now and super potent.
Yeah, the robot thing, I don't know how long they've been around, but you always think it always seemed to be confined to it's just some guy in a trench coat behind some alley. You just get that image, at least in your head. And I know that's not really an accurate kind of description of that, but I think and I guess I could see people offloading some of their sexual desires maybe to something else, a toy. People could say, well, we've always had sex toys and things like that.
Yeah.
But besides the fact that they're getting way, way, way more lifelike just physically.
Correct.
What I think they're marketing now, and you can certainly weigh in here, is I see all over their website, in a couple of quotes here, a lifelike companion with integrated AI designed for real conversations, interaction, and connection that evolves. So connection tying into that human need.
That's right.
Future models react with both movement and speech, significantly enhancing user experience by focusing on emotional connection. So it's not really, so they're checking both boxes. A perfect
Correct.
fit.
And they've been trying to do, or working toward doing that for a decade, as do these other AI platforms, these other sex tech AI platforms. They're all working toward being a companion as well as a lover.
Right. And I just can't, do you see, is there any positive to that? Like in terms of where it pushes us as a society, and is it, because I think of, okay, there's some folks out there that they have disabilities or problems where it's really difficult in the open market to do it the old fashioned way.
Correct.
Just trying to give some grace there, but I just can't think of on the aggregate how this is good for us as a people.
So I agree with that. Now, there are two main sort of categories, if that's the right word, of folks who are will largely benefit from this technology. And one is disabled folks, like you said. So physically, emotionally, disabled folks who, for whatever reason, can't find a human partner or have difficulty with a human partner, or just geographically not close enough to human partners to have one. So that's one group. And the second group are folks who are sexually more diverse, creative, and can't find outlets in their life. They can find many more outlets within these platforms. So those are the two major arguments that have enabled all of this technology to sort of gain steam in a way that's supported, because those are real for people. But the number of people that are going to benefit versus the number of people who risk being damaged, this is my concern. And so there are real benefits from all of this. No tech is all bad, but there's a lot for us to worry about.
Yeah. I mean, going back to your original statement about how it's unfair to have a partner that looks good, listens all the time, has all the energy in the world.
Right.
I mean, as these things get better and better, that becomes the perfect partner, quote unquote.
Correct.
I mean, no loss of energy, no every, agrees with everything you say.
Right.
But it doesn't it break sort of the human condition? Like
absolutely. So I have so many worries about this. Can I say that one of my primary worries is that for most of us to have a partner that we desire and enjoy being around, we work for that. We work for that emotionally. We work for that physically. We try to be our best to be attractive to this person we want in our lives. And for as long as humanity has existed, that's been true. Like, we want to be appealing in every way possible. But if that goes away and we're just handed whatever we want without having to work for it, I sincerely worry about where that's headed.
Yeah, there's also just like I think social media, you get a lot of, there in real life, there's a self-correcting mechanism where if I meet you in the park and I see a guy and I say something completely insulting, or I'll get punched in the face, or at least I'll get, so I'll get confronted, and I might, if I'm a decent person, I might even if I got a super ego, I might think, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And I start to think based on that reaction, and I could become better, as a person.
Right.
And the same thing on the, in the relationship side. I mean, my wife calls me on my bullshit at times.
Yes. Yes.
And sometimes it's not always the case, but a lot of times, like, I didn't see it, but the conflict we were having, she, it might take way longer than we'd like, but I started to realize, oh, I was just going down a wrong path or had a wrong, whatever mindset on this. Mm-hmm. If I get one of these, right, sex robots that just, yes, Vinny, oh, absolutely, everything you're doing, I'll do the dishes, eventually. My bullshit's going to just continue with
exactly. There'll be no motivation otherwise. Yeah. It's just the easy way to go.
Yeah. I don't, it's a little scary. And I do think, just because, with the AI, this step function in AI just exploding, my guess is it's going to start to, we're just the tip of the iceberg, I would imagine.
I think that's a really good point, because as AI agents become more available to us. Yeah. So for those of your listeners who don't know, an AI agent is basically has the capability of an LLM plus the ability to accomplish things. So if actions, so if I ask my LLM, my ChatGPT, how do I fix this website issue? It'll tell me step by step. If I ask my AI agent, it will fix it for me in a second. Right. And, I've seen very reasonable projections that most of us will have an agent before 2030. Now it's 2026. So those agents, depending on how you program them, can also function sexually. Okay. So they can control not only your sex toy, but the music in your room and the lighting in your room. And they're going to be creative in a way that a human might, in such a way that, they'll try a different fantasy and see how it goes over for you. Like, that's all very reasonable within the next couple of years. So, as a sex therapist, what I anticipate is that people are going to feel more authentic sexually with their tech, because they're not worried about rejection, right? And they'll explore more. So now they'll have this interaction with a voice that sounds human, with a sex toy that feels really intense, and they're able to say or act out anything possible. And then they go to their human partner who's like, are you kidding me? I'm not saying that. And what's wrong with you for even thinking that? Right? We've got a problem on our hands here that's brewing, in my opinion. So, I consider myself a pessimist. So my natural tendency is to see the worst. And I consider myself a doomer. And that's a derogatory term. And I've just sort of given into it, because when I started teaching other therapists and writing and lecturing on these issues, I tried really hard to see the positive. And I like that you're bringing that up. It is real. The positives are there. I tried very hard to present sort of like even explanations and descriptions to the people that I was lecturing to. But at this point, it just feels impossible to keep this an equal argument. It just feels, so I've like given in. Okay, I'm a doomer. And to change that, we're going to have to do some massive discussion as humans, and some massive collaboration to turn this around.
Yeah, I wrote a note here, like before you joined the call. I was thinking, I do you feel like you're paddling upstream? I mean, in your practice, it must. Yeah, you're going to be beat by. I mean, I just feel like all the odds are stacked against you. You're trying to create better intimacy between folks, and I just think that I don't think it's like great, but I get this other thing that's going to give me much more gratification much sooner.
So and I think every cohort, every decade, there's going to be more challenge. So, working with folks that are, let's say, I'm just throwing out a number, but let's say 45 and up, it's not that much of a challenge. They can see the issues and they want the best for themselves, their family, their relationship. But younger folks who haven't even experienced romance, they don't know what they're missing. And it's really easy to say, that's so hard. Like, why would I want it?
Right. Right. Yeah. They have no baseline.
No.
That's their, right. Their reality is going to be this new world, which is catered to them and much more easy, like we said.
Right.
So why would you go do that other thing? I got to go ask a girl out at a bar. I'm going to get embarrassed. They're going to laugh at me.
Exactly.
Or if I'm intimate with someone, I'm all insecure and my body. Yeah. Right. Well, we're not all that. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm more of on the dystopian side. I just think it's, and I think you're right. I think the kids, it's really that's where I'm really worried, the children. And I don't know what college, like when kids enter even the workforce, they have to use AI, they have to use the tech. So that's going to be pushed more and more and more. But when it enters the relationship side,
right.
I mean, now would you say, well, go ahead first. I'll ask you the question.
Oh, okay. So, one very, one concern that is one of the closest to my heart, let's say, is that technology can teach young people literally what turns them on. We develop what some people call love maps, or basically, we develop these kind of connections between our body's arousal and whatever in the environment turns us on. And we do that when we're young. So these like arousal templates. So your body as a young person can arouse, even if there's nothing really sexual going on. You can have like a surge of hormone, and whatever you see around you then becomes sexualized, and oftentimes for the rest of your life. Okay. These are arousal templates. Now that you're going to get a hormone, or kids will get a hormone surge also when they're watching things that are sexually explicit or even sexually upsetting. They're still going to it's natural to have like a hormonal reaction. And in that way, it's the case that sometimes people who have bad sexual experiences, because they were aroused and that's natural during that time, they still require that kind of template to have a satisfying sexual experience as an adult. Now, that's been known for a long time, but what we haven't seen yet is this experiment of young kids seeing dramatic versions of porn that many adults listening to or watching this have never even experienced themselves, because people don't all watch porn. So young kids at like age 12 watching this stuff. I mean, your kids are prime right now for this. They're watching this. They're having a physiological reaction to it. It can become part of their arousal template, Vinny, for the rest of their lives.
Right. Especially given like you said earlier, with the brain neuroplasticity. And right now it's the brain is building its scaffolding and you're feeding in that.
Exactly.
Hence,
okay. And because it's likely that many of these kids don't have any interaction with a human in any kind of sensual way, they've got nothing to sort of compare it to, or so it can really become ingrained.
Yeah, I did want to ask you strictly about porn. I mean, porn and kids. There's no. I mean, that should be unequivocally just a no.
Yeah.
So, in your practice, do you find porn is a huge issue between couples, even married couples? Or yeah,
it's often an issue. Yeah.
And is it both sides usually, just the man usually?
No, it's much more men. And there's reasons for that. So I have a lot of compassion for men. This isn't just like, why are guys like so inclined to porn? What's their problem? In fact, porn is what we call a supernormal stimuli, which means it is such an exaggerated stimuli that we are evolutionarily or instinctively oriented to find appealing. Okay, so this is sort of, let's say, in our DNA, that there are certain things that we find appealing, like sweet food. We can use that as an example. I can explain that if you want. But so porn is like that. But because at a very instinctive level, males and females have different adaptations or different approaches to their sexual lives, in some very basic primal ways, not necessarily conscious. And, we can talk all this through if you want to, but the bottom line is that porn is more appealing for men and that very primal, instinctive sexuality. So while women will watch porn just to see something interesting or creative or have an experience, men watch it because it feeds something deep inside them. And so it makes sense that men find it more compelling than women. It was created to tap that part of a man's, innate sexuality. So I feel very concerned for men because as all of this technology evolves, it's primarily that the sexual piece of it is going to be more compelling for men with all of this. And so this is another level of concern. We already have males and females having a hard time getting along and understanding each other. Now, as that, shows no signs of stopping. Now, males are going to find more and more of this tech compelling. It's likely that if we don't sort of, as a society, understand why this is so appealing, we're going to give men a worse and worse name about what it is they're doing and what's wrong with them. And I don't see this going well for that reason, too.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything. And I think there's a desire for novelty, right, embedded in us men. That novelty, right? The traditional, like, marriage. I'm a traditional guy. I believe that's the foundation of society. We don't have to get into all that. But even if you take that out of it, right, I think it's just much more. It's just much less. I think we're programmed for novelty. So porn just feeds that novelty, engine
and
as
Vinny,
well.
You don't have to take that out of it. People who are trying to have, like, be single parents are so overstressed. Like, there's something that's very healthy for people to have, parents that can bring different, characteristics and different benefits to their child. So all of that's very real.
For sure. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah. So in your practice, what are, like, the common? Is there 3 or 4 or 5 themes that you're always trying to fight through? And I imagine, is it mostly couples therapy, or what's okay? So it's
often couples therapy. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't say mostly, but maybe I should. I don't know. I treat adults, males and females. I don't think I treat males or females more, but it's always adults. Common issues are her low libido. We do get his low libido. I work with heterosexual couples. His low libido I do work with guys that have it, and we could talk about that if you want, but more commonly,
all it's 3 of them. Not too common. I'm sure it happens, but I don't. It's probably much less common.
It's less common. It has oftentimes something to do with people feeling disempowered. So if a man is feeling disempowered in his work, in his life, in his relationship, that can kill his libido. For women, it tends to be much more complicated.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so that's an issue. Affairs. That's a common issue. People who feel like they're using too much porn, that's a common issue.
Yeah. Why you mentioned affairs? I read about this occasionally. Men and women have affairs for different reasons. Would you agree with that?
I don't know so much now. There's an element of that. So I wouldn't disagree. So, sort of traditionally women would be more oriented toward affairs to have a connection, and men for sex, but men want connections too. So I'm disinclined to make that determination so clearly. But I can tell you it's getting more and more complicated, because now is sexting to a chatbot? Is that an affair? There are so many different kinds of tech now that.
Yeah. What's cheating? Yeah. Right. What constitutes cheating? Oh, interesting. Oh, and yeah. Has that been coming up in your practice? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And was it the position of one of the people that he or she felt cheated on by their partner with AI?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Right.
How do you handle that one?
So that's a tricky one, because
that's above my pay grade.
Yeah. It's different, as you can imagine, for everyone, but it's a matter of understanding, having the person that feels that their partner cheated on them, talking about why that is, what is it about that technology that makes them feel that way. It's about finding perhaps other ways for the couple to find interest and excitement together. It's complicated. Generally, so I did some research on this. Generally, women tend to feel like this technology is more indicative of an affair or being unfaithful than men do. But of course, it's not across the board. People are pretty complicated.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Oh man.
Man is right.
Your job's gotten way more complicated. Yeah, it's just because human relationships are hard enough as it is.
Exactly.
I mean, hard enough as it is. And go back to the energy thing. I mean, I've been married for plenty of time now, 2 kids. It's so hard to keep. It takes active work, but again, I think that's part of what makes it great.
Yes.
Just like if you're working out really hard, if there's a pill to make you fit, yeah, you might get the end result. Eventually, I think we'll get there, but you didn't earn anything. All the other intangible results come with it.
Yes.
Same thing with working on a relationship and working through those hard times. If you just everything we're talking about seems to just want to hack all that. Short circuit, get to the end,
right.
And I don't think that's the same thing.
Agreed.
Did you have? I saw was it a documentary? Was it Sex Robot Madness? Yeah. I came across that over on, I think it's on Prime. When
is it on Prime?
I thought it was on Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Okay.
When did you do that?
That was a while ago. That might have been 7 or 8 years ago. That was a while. I'm not sure.
You need a Sex Robot Madness Part 2 because now AI's here.
It's a whole right.
It's oh, interesting. And now, who did you do that one with? Who was that?
Oh my gosh, now I'm embarrassed. I can't remember the producer and the interviewer, but I was really pleased. They were sort of in on this early, and I was very impressed that they wanted to explore this. I actually dragged my husband to a sex doll / robot brothel in Canada. Because
dragged them or
yeah. Well, so he says, but I feel like I do lecture on these topics to therapists, do continuing ed, and I feel like I really need to know exactly as much as possible. I shouldn't say exactly, but as much as possible about what's really going on out there. So this seemed like something. They're all over the world. They're not in the U.S. because of zoning laws and stuff. There have been attempts at bringing a sex robot. I say that sex doll robot because there's right now there's a sort of a vague line between what would constitute a sex doll versus sex robot. But anyway, I don't know how important that is really, but so I was invited to one in Canada. They were hoping I was going to blog about it basically. And I thought, okay, because I want to see what this is all about. Yeah. So we went. It was very interesting. And there were guys there. I mean, there were guys there who seemed to know what they were doing within the facility. So I figure they're not new to the experience. But I still don't think this is going to be like popular right now at a population level. These dolls are heavy. They're, they look very much like a doll. The dolls that you've seen, like real bots, like Realbotics, real dolls, they look much more human, but they're still slow to respond and they don't walk and things like this. So that's still, look, I don't know, but maybe at least a decade away before those really become an active part of the dialogue about what people's options are. But this brothel was so funny. It was the cleanest thing. My husband and I are looking at each other like it's like cleaner than a hospital. And it was sort of set up like a medical practice. Like you go in and there's a waiting room and there were guys in there and everybody has to take their shoes off. And then where the nursing station would have been is like their tech. They're like virtual reality tech and stuff. And then this long hallway with these little rooms where they have dolls or just the head of a doll or a body part of a doll, whatever. And that's really what the setup was. It was really kind of mind blowing to see that it's just happening.
And it was yeah.
You were
doing it for research, right?
Yeah. We had dinner. I mean, like I said, like he was hoping I was going to blog about it, which I did not. But we had dinner with the owner and his wife because I really wanted to see, like, how's this really work in your relationship? And they were both very proud of it. They called it ethical non-monogamy. And I don't know. I think they both felt like they were going to be able to retire on this. I mean, we'll see. I have no idea. It's called Oh My Doll. You could find it online if you wanted to.
Oh My Doll. Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
It's in Alberta, Canada.
So, and they're common across the world, you said?
I wouldn't say common, but there's several in Germany. They're in Italy. I mean, they're in various countries. So they're
I guess
there.
The legality of that, it's almost like artificial prostitution.
Well, so that's the problem. That's the reason they've tried to bring them into New York State, into Las Vegas, into Texas, but the zoning issues, like, do you call this a sex toy shop? Do you call this prostitution? And it's a big deal because if they label it in a certain way, then it can be zoned in districts like near schools, stuff like this. So it's complicated and no one wants to spend the legal fees to sort it out in the US, I think, but Canada's different. So they have several of these in Canada and other countries.
Yeah, I guess I guess it gets into that ethical gray area where if someone wants to go there and get a quick fix, they're not hurting it, assuming they're single and not, there's no, complication on their own side. But because I've heard some of the, the discussions on that clip was I had on the Real, was it realdoll.com, their website, and they were interviewing all the people and their position was really, well, we're not hurting anybody. This is, it was, they obviously defending because and I guess I could see that. But then again, you step back and says, well, getting back to sex was supposed to be something that was, with at least if you take my perspective, it's supposed to be a part of like a relationship that you're committed to and not just a way to have a quick fix and feel good. But I guess I see it, but
so, and these dolls too, it's not just sex. Like there's one that a component of that company that is not a real doll. This doll does not have genitals, but it's now being used at an Indian resort, a Native American resort school in, I don't remember, New Mexico. And they're trying it out this year to see what that's going to be like for students. It's not like the only teacher in the room. It's an adjunct to the teacher. But basically the reason I'm telling you this is because the intention is to use these dolls interpersonally and not just real dolls, like dolls all over the world, to be with like elderly people, particularly who are demented and want some contact. They're going to be a presence. Right. And it's not just sex dolls.
Right. A companion, an actual companion.
Yes.
Without not just being sexual.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if Elon Musk gets his way, I mean, he's going to have, I've got the name of his robot. Oh gosh, but they are coming, and the tech is getting so crazy with washing dishes and the dexterity in the fingers. It's going to be. And I was telling my wife, I would say in less than a decade. I think you can already buy them, but they're not just that great yet.
Yes.
They're like $10,000. It's not, it's not super out of reach for a lot of people. And they can start doing household chores.
Right. And what's really amazing about this technology is it teaches each other. Like it's all one connected brain.
Exactly.
So when this one learns how to do folding socks, they all have now learned how to fold.
Exactly. Yeah. The hive mind. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's scary, but also, I mean, that's that kind of recursive learning of AI. It's just when one, and that's how they're going. That's how they are already smarter than us. They can share, we have to like talk and like, oh, good idea. Talk to a physicist and he has to share it. We don't have, we can't just share these thoughts immediately. So I can't get you smarter by just by thinking of something.
Yeah.
But so I love the AI thing. I love where tech's going, but I think all these impacts in society scare me. What other projects you working on? Like, so you get your practice.
Yeah. So what is most near and dear to my heart is my blog and my podcast. I do a lot of lecturing to therapists, continuing ed for therapists, and also for medical professionals. That's very important to me because I really feel like until those that are helping others really understand this technology and what the issues are, people are going to be really without the kind of support that they need. So I do quite a bit of that. I have a private practice as well, but I have my energy going in a lot of different directions, and writing and things like that. So, but it's all at this, not all, but much of it is organized around these issues because I am so concerned.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's we need folks like you keeping, sharing this information. And because I like I said before, I think you're going to be paddling upstream, and I don't see it letting up. So
Yeah.
I just keep fighting the good fight.
Right.
What's your podcast? Is it generally sex therapy topic?
It's a kind of a variety of things, but a lot of testosterone and medical health, as well as AI and sex therapy. So this is just one component of it. So it's called the Sex Doctors Podcast.
Yeah,
our website, hopefully it's back up. We had a little issue yesterday, but the sex podcast, the sexdoctorspodcast.com is the website, or you could get there from my own website, which is drbrandon.net. So
yeah, I'll put all that in the show notes. Yeah, I'll check out your podcast. I mean, that's super interesting. I mean, the testosterone thing, is that, you get into that at all, or is that mostly the hubby's thing?
Well, it was originally hubby's thing, but we talk about it so much that
you probably, you're a Ph.D. by proxy. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And it does relate to mood. As a therapist, like
sure.
I'm quite aware of that, and how it can be helpful for people in terms of energy and mood and stuff like that. So it's bigger than sex,
right?
And we address it from that perspective.
I mean, hormones in general. I mean, my wife's the menopause kind of stage, and all this conversation about hormone replacement, and I have a lot of friends on TRT.
Yeah.
And, you hear both sides of it. I mean, it seems to be a trend of, and you probably is the person to ask on this, but should women be considering, obviously with their doctor, some type of hormone replacement? It seems like that's what I've been reading.
Right. Absolutely. And women can feel so much relief from these symptoms of menopause from all of these, from these hormones. I shouldn't say all, there are only a few, but also it's just good for brain and health and heart. Like the old notion that these hormones are hurtful is based, believe it or not, this was my husband's research. One subject, the entire notion that testosterone causes prostate cancer was based on one subject, like in the 1950s. That's it. That was
a terrible study. That is in no way that is a scientifically sound
it's
study.
Not even close. But also
so did something. So the output of that study was that hormone or hormones are negative in some way.
Well, so basically the output of that study was hormones cause prostate cancer, and don't put guys on hormones.
The prostate cancer thing. Oh, so that has basically has that been debunked? Because that is a thing. I still hear that.
Yeah, I know. But my husband actually debunked it. I mean, I'm not one to brag, but I have to tell you, I cannot tell you how proud I am of him, because he really did change medicine. So he started the first men's health clinic in Boston, and he started giving men testosterone even before all of this was uncovered. Okay. Which he uncovered it. But he basically was working with men who were depressed. They had no libido, they had no energy. And he has a history of research with testosterone, and basically said to them, if you sign a release, I'll treat you. Now, he's the only person definitely in the country, probably in the world, that was doing that. And he did it regularly and started doing research, and slowly created enough data that he literally changed medicine with this concept.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Well, I know.
I've seen the change, and it's amazing though how slow it is to change, like the popular opinion, because you still see,
I know,
like, oh, what worry about the prostate cancer risk,
right?
But then, thank God, podcasts and the open internet, you see 10 different people talking about, now that's been debunked.
Yeah.
I didn't know it went back to hubby. That's
his last name is Morgenthaler, Abe Morgenthaler.
I'm going to look that up. That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So would you say on the women's side that the hormone replacement is so
it's a little different, but basically the benefits far outweigh whatever risk is there. And the risk, like, I'm making up these numbers right now, I don't have them in front of me, but they're not that far off. So like a risk of an increased cancer would be like going from 1 in 3,000 women to 3 women in 3,000.
Right, right.
Like it's so small, but the benefits of like preventing a heart attack are like off the charts. So if you're going to balance all this, like there's basically no contest.
Plus the energy levels and emotional regulation, all this stuff. Because I mean, I think I'm just simplifying it, but isn't it just getting your hormone levels back to the state they were before they started degrading over age? Is that kind of
I think that's kind of it. And for I'm not going to disagree with that. Now, of course, I'm a psychologist, so I can't like give medical advice. So we have to be really clear about that. But again, this is what I learned from my husband. And if you have listeners who are wondering if their testosterone is low, if they tend not to wake with morning erections, they really should get it checked out. Like that's not a foolproof test, but they should be waking with morning erections. And if they're not generally waking with them, okay, that's something worth looking into. But then there's the whole issue of getting SHBG level. Do you know about that? Sex hormone binding globulin. So you know how much testosterone is available in your body and all this.
Okay, so yeah, it's like this free testosterone, testosterone, and free testosterone. That other thing is tight. Yeah, okay,
right. So either get yourself a free testosterone level or get a testosterone level with SHBG, and then go on the computer, go to a platform that can figure out your free testosterone, so you know what's even usable, because your testosterone level might be fine, but your body can't access it because of this SHBG. So
got it. And what also I see and you hear tons, like the old school, like the medical community, maybe it's changing in some areas, but it still tends to be so old school.
Yes.
Where, you know, and I love my doctor in a lot of ways, but like, you don't just get a lot of these numbers. You got to like, well, can I find out he's like, why would you need that? Why do you know you're good?
Right.
And he's still like tapping my stomach and doing the old thing. I'm like, my doctor was doing that 30 years ago, cough and hitting my knee. I'm like, is that what we're still doing? Like, you know, the whole like knee thing, see if your knee move, like the reflection.
Right.
Like,
I remember.
I think we've gotten, what year is it?
Absolutely. But what I can tell you, Vinny, seriously, is go on to our podcast website, and there's Abe's literature, like the stuff that he's published, and even the more recent ones. Yeah, just look at the like last 3 or 4 articles, and if you bring even the abstract to your doctor, you may very well get some movement with that. Okay.
Yeah. So you're saying go to the website and there's a list of.
Yeah. So there's, a page that's really all his research.
Oh, very cool.
And he's published over 300 academic articles. So, but just look at the last few. That's really all you need.
Right. Okay. Now I'm sure you do plenty of podcast episodes on this as well.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm going to give those a listen. You got one more subscriber at least. I can guarantee that.
That's awesome.
Hopefully a lot more.
Every subscriber counts.
I know. All right. Well, Marianne, thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day. And we'll go from there. I'll let you know when this publishes. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know and I'll give it to my people and they'll promote it.
Awesome. I appreciate that so much.
Okay, good. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a great day.